Welcome back to Rob, Anybody, and Dawn. Email the show at radradio.com.
All right, we got this one from Jana.
Hi, Jana.
I saved it. It came in a couple days ago because it's all about Shelby from financewithshelby.com, who's here. Hello, Shelby.
Good morning.
And I know you're going, why is he using that tone? I'll tell you why. Shelby. Look, we're very honest on this show, all right? See, look, I can tell he's getting nervous already. He's like, what is he doing to me?
Yeah, what are you doing? Shelby's the best.
Oh, I'm done. Why don't we hear from Jana first? Because let me tell you how this email starts, Shelby. I have a lot to say about my recent experience with Shelby Elias. That's never good.
Oh, no.
When people start with so listen to this. I reached out in a panic via Instagram because I really wanted this house, and I learned it was getting offers. He, Shelby, called one of his agents and had her meet us that night at the house to see it.
Oh.
And we ended up putting in an offer that night, right before midnight.
Damn.
The following morning, the offer was accepted.
Yay!
Long story short, we just got the keys to the house last night.
Woo!
This is my boyfriend and I's first time buying a house and even experiencing this process. Now, I'm sure this isn't the typical home buying experience, considering we closed in 23 days, but I could be wrong.
Nice.
Shelby and his team, Nicole and Madison, were all amazing. They eased our minds and answered all of our questions, no matter how dumb they were.
Gosh dang them.
They never made us feel stupid. And they guided us through the whole process. Shelby was even on vacation in Mexico and was working and answering our questions, even though we tried not to bother him.
Oh, that's so nice.
Nicole was available at all hours of the day, working tirelessly to get us the best deal. The whole team really is the best. Just can't thank them enough for getting us our dream home. Can't say enough amazing things about Shelby. And thank you, Rob, for introducing us to Shelby and having him on the show. Well, take that,
Yeah.
pal.
I love it.
I want to throw you a curveball real quick, just because we had a guy write in, and I don't think he was a whiner or anything like that, but he was throwing up a bunch of cants. You and I have talked about this over and over again. He's in a toxic job. His last job was toxic. He feels like he's failing his family. He wants to start a new business. We talked about all sorts of mindset stuff. I wanted to give you 60 seconds to do what you've done before. There's always a way out. This is all mindset, right?
Yeah.
In terms of, I can do this, I can figure out a way. He cries before he goes into work, Shelby.
Yeah.
He's that overwhelmed. Just without any details, because we don't have them anymore, what would you say to a guy like that?
Yeah, so I get a lot of these calls a lot, and I try to be as encouraging as possible because people they call in and they're like, I don't know what to do. I don't really have a game plan. And we go over it together, and then, sometimes I could hear the defeat on the phone, like, shoot, so you're telling me that I'm not going to be able to buy a home. And then, the way that I coach them is, no, there's always a way. And here's the roadmap. So your income right now is at this. So this piece we need to improve. So you have a few different options here. One, you can go to your employer and say, hey, I'm trying to buy a house. I need to get to this income. Is this possible at this job? And if it's not, then you can make a decision if you want to go try to find another job that you can make this much more money to get there. Another, outcome would be if you started some sort of a side hustle, buying and flipping things. I gave the example to somebody the other day because I do this. I go on Facebook Marketplace all the time. Right now I'm furnishing a place in South Lake Tahoe, and patio furniture is darn expensive.
Shit is.
It's crazy. And, even with Memorial Day sales right now, I'm like, you know what? It'd be cheaper if I just buy this on Facebook Marketplace. And I'm one of those guys that doesn't give them their asking price. I negotiate it.
No.
Good. It's already on the marketplace.
I do, yeah. So I give them a lower offer and I save myself some money. But if I wanted to, I could always relist that at what they were listing it at. It's like,
and then not take the Shelby guy who calls you.
Yeah.
When he catches those ball, you
Hold out,
no, that's
right?
the price I said.
So if you just did that over and over, you can make yourself some serious extra money. And yeah, it's extra work, but at least it's an avenue. So every piece, there's an avenue. Do you want to do the work to fix your credit? Do you want to do what you need to do to get your income where it needs to be? And a program that we're going to discuss today is phenomenal for giving people the down payment. So there's always an avenue, and just knowing that you get surrounded by the people that are going to encourage you to get there.
Yeah, everything you said requires action. And I think that people have to remember that. you have to take action. There's a time and a place to sit and maybe wallow on something.
Yeah.
How am I going to get it? How am I going to do it? Whatever it is. And maybe there's a place for that for a moment or something, but then with anything in life, whether it's buying a house or whatever it is, it's like you have to eventually turn it into action and take action steps. And I think that's how you feel better about it, and then you finally get to whatever goal it is, that you wanted to reach.
We got this email just now, rad@radradio.com from Brian. Says, shout out to Shelby. He showed me and my wife how to get our dream home. Everyone should listen to what he says. He's on point, and he and his team made it so easy and understandable. What do you say to people? Just one more on this, Shelby. I used the example of you, and I used Kevin Hart as a guy who never stops working, but still seems to find time for his family and his kids. You've got 3 or 4?
3.
You got 3. So when you say, like in the beginning, you were saying, maybe when we talk, you might look into getting another job, or then you bring up a side hustle. Here's a reaction I get to a lot of people when you bring up an answer like that, or a person like Kevin Hart. Oh, easy for you to say. Yeah, well, Kevin, I used the example earlier. I said, Kevin Hart, he's a billionaire. Well, how do you think he got there? He came from nothing. So when somebody hears you and they go, oh, easy for this guy to say, I can't just go get another job. How do you respond to someone like that?
Well, I mean, if you follow me on Instagram, you can see I really do have a great balance. Like I'm there for my kids before they go to school. Right when they get home from school, I'm there. Sometimes I'm taking calls. You'll hear my kids in the background. I'm totally okay with that. I mean, remember that show that I brought my son in here, and he's going, Dad, I need to go
loved
pee.
that. We need more
That was
of
insane. But that's a part of my life. So it's like, you just incorporate that in your life. Like the way that I look at it with all of the negotiation and stuff, like, for instance, when we were in Mexico, I'm teaching my kids how to negotiate on the beach. So, yeah, I really was. Like, they loved it. That was their favorite part of the trip.
Oh,
so it's
God.
like you can turn these into learning opportunities for your kids.
And that balance you're talking about, you work at it, which I think is a lot of people think, oh, it's just going to come to me. No, you work at it. You schedule it out. You think about it.
That's exactly it. Brian and Palooza, I had my kids sell mistletoe, and they crushed it.
Oh,
and so it's like
cute.
I'm working, but I'm also educating my kids, and that's very important to me to teach them hard work. And I'm leading by example, so I'm mixing the two. So it doesn't always have to be like this treacherous thing, And oftentimes with people's employment, I can't tell you how many times I gave somebody a raise that I wouldn't have if they didn't ask. And it's like I learned that kind of from my dad, because I asked my dad, I'm like, how many times have you ever asked for a raise? He's like, I never have. I'm like, what? You never asked for a raise? He's like, well, I get this 5% bump every year. I'm like, dude. This is crazy to me. Like, you have to. And me being an employer, I know that I'm not just going to voluntarily, give out extra money. But when somebody good is showing initiative and they need to make more, I'm going to provide them with an outlet. So,
Kyle, do not get any ideas.
Why are you looking at me? You gave me eye contact first.
But, well, you know why? You know why? Because you said years ago, you were talking about dating, but it's the same premise. You're not going to get what you don't ask for.
That's right.
What's the worst thing they can do? Say no. Now, a boss might say no, and here's why, or here's how you can get there, or here's what we can do together, etc. So that's why I looked at you first, but also don't think about it. So, Shelby does have one of the best Instagrams to follow. It's inspiring. You learn from it. It's just his name, Shelby Elias, Elias. You can write us right now, rad@radradio.com. Phone number is 888-989-9811. United Wholesale Lending. We got the lender side. We got the real estate side. And let's get to some of these things you're alluding to. Power purchased agreements. We talked a little bit about this last time you were here. Go through it again and where we're at with it.
Yeah, so this is the number one thing that anyone can do to save money right now, and it's primarily for PG&E customers. So you can get solar on your home, whether you're PG&E, SMUD, whatever, but this program is specific to PG&E clients. That's how they qualify. The best thing about this program is there's no loan, there's no lease, it does not show up on your credit, and you're going to cut your bill in half. So most people that are in PG&E territory, they're paying anywhere from like $400 to $800, even $1,200 per month to PG&E. And before this, there was no avenue for anybody, and they just take these rate hikes. PG&E rate hiked 22% last year. So if you just even analyze the savings over time. But what's so great about this product is they will come out, analyze your roof. If your roof needs repairs or to be replaced, they will replace it for free. They also will replace your electrical panel. It doesn't go on your credit. It's not like, you have this huge lump sum that now you owe X amount of dollars. Think of it like if Shell gasoline came to your house and said, hey, you know what? You operate a business and you're using a lot of gas. I'm going to go ahead and put a gas pump at your house. You don't have to pay for it. I'll pay for it. I'll install it.
Okay.
I will service it. It doesn't go on your credit. Nothing. You just agree to buy all of your gas from me now. And the best part is it's half price. And then we'll lock you in at that rate. So you're protected from these 22% increases. It's the best program for saving people money, and that's what we're always looking at.
When you say no lease, you were referring to the solar panels. The solar thing has. There's a reason I shied away from it for so long until they figured it out, and it's less of a. It's not. I'm sorry, I was going to say less of a scam, which would imply it's a scam. They've twisted it, but what does that mean? There's no lease on it. So what happens to the panels, or who owns them? Or
so
that kind of thing?
The solar utility company still owns the equipment. It's kind of like when Dish Network comes out and installs Dish on your house. Then now you got cable. Cool. They're not going to charge you for it. They're going to come out and install it, and they just want you to buy your cable through Dish. Same thing. They're going to come out. They're going to install it. They're going to take care of it. It doesn't, just like Dish doesn't put a lien on your credit. It's the same type thing. You're switching your service over from PG&E to a solar utility company, and obviously they need to make sure that your roof, is good enough and your electrical panel is good enough. So they're taking government funding to pay this. So it's not like, you're like, well, where does this all come from? This is a government's initiative. Everyone is paying for it, whether you're in SMUD or PG&E. It's just the PG&E people are the ones that need it the most, and they're being hooked up.
This is one of those rare examples of people who scream, "Wow, why do I pay taxes? Where does it go?" Well, here's where it can go.
That's it.
You can actually get something back. Most of us never see it.
Yeah.
We just got this email from Christy, rad@radradio.com. With your new solar program, is there an option for an already established mortgage with solar being separate to bundle it in some way without having to pull the equity from the house to pay it off?
Yes. So with this program, you don't even need to. It doesn't do anything to your mortgage or anything. It's not a lien on your house. But if you opt to purchase solar, then there's a completely separate solar loan that you can use. And with that, if you purchase the solar, you get the 30% federal tax credit. If you use this power purchase agreement, you do not get the tax credit. But this is exactly why we started doing this. I had to deal with these issues regardless, because when people go to sell their home, they're like, oh, we have solar. And now I'm like, oh, give me your solar agreement. I have to analyze it. I have to figure it out. They have no idea what they just signed from this 12-year-old door knocker, And so I had to figure it out on the back end. I'm like, why did you buy solar when you're going to be selling your house in 5 years? You should have never did that. You're not going to get dollar for dollar out of it. So your best option would have been this power purchase agreement, or they get into a lease situation, and now there's a lease payment, and now there's a lien on their credit that they have to pass over when they sell their house. I'm like, why didn't you go with the power purchase agreement? They're like, we didn't even hear about that. I'm like, no, that automatically transfers over with the home. The new buyer, they don't need to qualify for it. There's no lien on their credit. It's nothing. It's just, hey, do you opt to pay PG&E or do you want to pay us? We're half the price. That's it.
A really dumb question. Has anyone ever wanted to take their solar with them? Like they're selling their house and they want to they're like, that's my solar panels. I want to take them to the new house.
Well, you wouldn't have the option with the power purchase agreement. But, technically, if you own the solar, it'd be hard to sell your house after you took it off.
I wonder if anyone's ever tried that.
The major benefit, too, is savings over time. Because when you analyze with those 22% increases and you're like, okay, look at this in 5 years. Look at this in 10 years. So this is going to turn into a true asset because imagine if we got the opportunity to lock in gas 10 years ago.
Oh, my
right?
Lord.
You're like, hey, guess what?
If
You buy my
only.
car, you get 99 cents per gallon gas.
Yeah.
That's how this is going to look in the future. It's going to be like, hey, I'm paying 21 cents. PG&E's now charging 95 cents. It's major housing expense. So,
Yes.
with our solar loan, that's a completely separate topic. But we went to Fannie Mae and we said, hey, housing in California, you want to protect your asset that's on of this home. You need to look at this because people are going to be pushed out of their houses, not from their mortgage payments, from their utility bill.
Which is the biggest bill
wild.
homeowners have ongoing outside of their mortgage. And again, to reinforce, current homeowners, the PPA can help them as well. This isn't because a lot of people, I'm not ready to buy a house. Great,
Yep.
you own one. It can work there.
I like that because it gives them that thought process of, because we do get stuck on the mortgage, which of course that's important, but it's like, ooh, it's not just your mortgage. What also is your power bill going to be?
Tracy just wrote in, rad@radradio.com. She says, Shelby, I just built new and I got a solar exemption for not having enough sun. Would I still qualify for the solar panels? So in other words, she built new. There's these mandates. You got to have solar right now and moving forward. Oh, but you don't get enough sun. So she got out of that, but now she's saying, could I still get the solar panels? And I guess if
she's
can't move
in
the sun.
if she's in PG&E, it may have been because of maybe some trees or something like that. But basically what we do is we don't just estimate this. Our technology, it will show the path that the sun crosses over your home, exactly how much sunlight that you get. We use LiDAR technology. We actually fly drones over all of the homes in California.
Sick.
So we get the drone, footage so we can track all of this information. The only thing we need to break this down is your usage for the last 12 months. So it'll say January used this much power, February, March, April, every month. And then we build the system and the size to the exact specification of what you're using. That way this is exactly what I used last year. And then we go over how long you're going to be in the home, how's your roof condition, and it is really good.
It's
costs
like
you nothing to check it out.
Everything else, Tracy, the emailer, just reach out to Shelby. It's worth it. He actually takes phone calls and returns phone calls. FinanceWithShelby.com. Phone number is 888-989-9811. Hi, Melinda.
Hi, Shelby. Hi, Rad team. How are you guys?
Hello.
Hi.
Hey, okay, so we have solar, and we love it, but we got it from a company that then was bought by another company that sucks, and the customer service is horrible, and it took like 6 months for them to come service our Tesla battery. Is there any way to get out of one of these contracts? Because we would love to switch to someone else.
Yeah, unfortunately, you can't. It's kind of like
You said
with your
earlier there's
mortgage.
always a way. you always say there's a way.
Not with this.
Yeah. You're locked in with those guys.
By the way, there's a lot of people saying things that I've said to you before more than once. Where were you, insert time frame here, a year ago, 5 years ago, etc. Hello there, Matt. Good morning.
Yeah, I had a question for Shelby.
Yep.
Half my PG&E bill is gas. There's obviously nothing we can do about that, correct?
Correct.
And then right now I have my son and daughter-in-law living with us. So when you look back a year, it's going to show, power usage for a family of 4. And then would we sign an agreement based on that power usage, even though in a year when they move out, it would be cut in half probably?
No, but that's a really good question. So basically what we would do is we would project how much less energy that you'll be using in the future. This is something that I'm seeing too when people are buying homes that already have solar. If there was a 5-person family that was living in that home prior, and then now there's only going to be a 2-person family, then they're generating too much electricity. So there's an overage, and they do get a credit for that. It's not substantial, but they do get a credit back. But in your case, what we would do is we would project how much less energy that you'll be using. Another thing that we also go over too is, do you see yourself getting an electric vehicle? And also analyzing the benefits there. If you could take a federal tax credit for buying an electric vehicle, and then you compare the cost of your gas, and then you compare the cost of your solar panels generating your electricity to drive your car, that's something that we want to analyze. And we can project that, and we can either size the system up or size the system down based on our conversation.
You alluded to it earlier. I know a lot of people's ears perked up. Let's get to this whole idea of 0% down, because the thing that stymies a lot of people trying to buy is the down payment, 20%. You got to be kidding me. You've mentioned before 3%, all these other things. First of all, because I don't want to talk Pat, what is AMI?
AMI?
Yeah, what is that?
So the AMI is the area median income. So it's like in this specific area, the area median income is 80,000. So at that point, if somebody makes more than 80,000, they don't get the same benefits as somebody that makes less than that.
And that would be household income or
Correct.
whoever's putting the loan. Okay, so what does all of this have to do with this 0% down purchase program you've got?
Yeah, so this is one of the best programs that I've seen. we just rolled it out, and basically what it is it's up to a $15,000 credit for first-time home buyers. This can go towards their down payment. It can go towards their closing costs or towards their rate buy down. Okay. So, I mean, if you're talking right now, let's just say rates are somewhere between, 6.875 and 6.99, right? If you use that $15,000, you could buy the rate all the way down to like a 5.8. So what that's going to do is that's going to bring back the affordability. And that's what this program is designed for. It's like, hey, you know what? We'll go ahead and give you this $15,000 that you can use towards your down payment, which the minimum down payment right now is 3% down for a first-time home buyer. There's no income restriction on this program. That's the major kicker.
Wow.
We've had these types of programs before. There's income restrictions. With this program, there is no income restriction if you have above a 700 credit score. So again, I can go and help you get your score there. But there's zero interest on it. There's zero payments on it.
Whoa.
You do have to pay the $15,000 back when you sell. But kind of a way around that is I'm always preaching, hey, buy your first house, then live in it a year, then turn that into a rental and go buy your next house. So what you could do is say you already saved up 3% down, right? Or 5 or whatever. And you're like, you know what? I got some money to buy a house. Keep that money, right? Don't use that money. Use this 3% down, get into the house, live there a year, maybe 2 years, start to save up to buy your second house. You just need to save up 5%. So if you already have 3, save up another 2 over the next year and rent that house that we just basically put the down payment down for you, buy another house. We don't require you to pay that $15,000 back yet because you didn't sell it.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're going to get 2 houses.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is the strategy that we're talking about. Let's map this out.
The rate buy down part that you mentioned earlier, this is where sometimes people's eyes glaze over, but you're talking about the interest rate that people are paying on the loan. In other words, when you buy it down, you are paying less per month. That's the affordability you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't afford that every month. Well, what if it wasn't 6.5%? We bought it down to 5.9 or whatever.
Yep.
It's a dramatic difference.
It is. That could save you $100 to $400 a month.
Damn.
Hi, JT. Go ahead.
Yeah, hi. I had a contract with a solar company, and it has a lien on the house, but the contract is technically with my father who passed. Would there be a way, since I technically don't have a contract with the provider, to get out of that and then get into a power purchase agreement?
So I'm guessing that your dad paid for the solar, then he put the lien on your house.
No, it's not. It's the equipment is theirs. It's a lease. It's a 20-year lease.
Got it. No, once you already signed up for that lease, you're in it, and that's what really stinks about the industry. It's like if you would have known about this, you wouldn't have went that route. You know.
So that is the one, for
stinks.
lack of a better term, screw job in this deal is because this is the second call we've gotten. Those individuals, they're kind of stuck.
Yeah,
where they are.
They already signed up for that.
Once you're with whatever solar, is it company? Or
yeah.
That's it. That's who you're with.
Yeah, I mean, you could add panels to it, but it's not like a refinance situation where you can just refinance out of it. I mean,
Right.
they put the solar on your roof. And that's
it. They're your company.
Yeah, this is it. It's like these kids are being unleashed out there. And like I said, I'm the one that has to deal with this. So they come in to refinance. They come in to sell. And they're like, all right, what do I do? How do I get out of this? Or why do I have to pay it off? And you're like, gosh, because you signed up for the lease. They either have to agree to take over your lease and to take all that additional debt on, or you have to pay it off. So oftentimes, some people are paying these things off with the proceeds of their home.
Oh,
So when they initially come to me, they're like, oh, when I sell my house, I'm going to net $200,000. Then we get into it. I'm like, wait, hold on, what's this? And they're like, oh, yeah, I forgot I have a lease with the solar. Okay, and then they try to sell it, and the new buyer's like, I don't want to pay that off for you, and I don't want to take that on my credit. And then they go, okay, well, shoot, how do we handle this? We have to pay it off. Okay, now you're going to net $40,000, $50,000 less. And they're like, what? Man, if you would have just did the power purchase agreement, this would automatically transfer over. It doesn't show up on their credit, doesn't show up on their debt, doesn't affect their debt to income ratio. Like, it's wild. And for some people, it's not the power purchase agreement. It's actually buying the solar. Hey, I'm going to keep this house forever. Okay, great. Maybe this might be best for you to buy it because you could take the federal tax credit. Send me your tax returns. I'll analyze those. I'll tell you how much that you're going to save on your taxes from doing solar. Okay, great. We go over that piece. Then the next piece is, okay, when you turn this house into a rental, now how does that work? If you're paying, say, $200 for your solar payment a month, and the average cost of electricity now is $350, do you charge them what you're paying? No, it's kind of like rent.
Yes.
You know, you don't just keep the rent. Oh, my mortgage payment's only $1,000, so you only pay $1,000. No, that's not how it works. Now this thing turns into an asset. Every year when PG&E increases their rate by 22%, you're increasing yours by 22%.
Dang.
So now this thing turns into an asset.
This
is it.
This is why they had them this is part of the reason why they had them working so hard and knocking on so many doors. They knew once they had you, that was it. And you probably, obviously, everyone's taken in by, oh, I'm saving this much in my electricity.
Yep.
Oh, but I'm going to be stuck with these people and there's all this other stuff.
Alluded to it earlier. You do literally take all of the lead calls. You are involved in everything. And because years ago now, God, we've been working together. And I was like, Shelby, you're not going to be able to keep up with this. And you're like, Rob, yeah, I am. And you do. You are committed to this.
I am. I take calls all day long. Sometimes I run a little bit late because I give people time. This isn't like hey, this is Shelby. I spend like 30 minutes with you, 45 minutes coaching you through. Whether or not you qualify or not, I treat everybody the same. I believe that even if you don't buy right now, sometimes those are my biggest supporters because I helped them through it. And now they're telling their friends. And, you know, I helped this lady the other day. She called in and she's like, hey, I'm already pre-approved, but I just want to ask you a question. I'm like, okay, that's cool. And she's like, is that okay? Because I'm already pre-approved, but I really want your advice. So she's like, look, I'm going to have to do this low ball offer because I won't qualify for any more. I'm like, okay, tell me more. And then I said, okay, this is how you want to structure your deal. And I said, well, I already have you on the phone. Tell me what they're offering. And so she did. And I said, okay, my interest rate is 0.5 point lower. And that saves you $125 a month just right there. She's like, oh my gosh, I didn't know how that worked. I just thought that every bank was the same. So then I saved her $125 there. Then I said, okay, instead of structuring your offer with a low ball offer, structure your offer with a good offer, but with a credit back to buy down the rate even more. That way the seller's going to net more money. You're going to get the payment that you want, and everybody wins, and you're going to actually compete for this house. Because if you send your low ball offer, you're not going to get it. And we put together this entire plan, and by the end, she's like, I'm never talking to that person again. Like, you're my guy.
See how it almost seems criminal that she was not given that information that you gave. It really does.
It's like anything.
Huge who
like,
you go to and who you don't.
Yeah.
Honestly.
But I don't think that anybody does it maliciously. They just, they're starting off their career, right? They're in a call center somewhere, and I was that guy at one point.
Well, and back to the analogy you used earlier, since Dawn's putting people in jail here. No. It's sometimes, it's like you said, as a boss, you might not be walking around just handing out money, but somebody walks in and says, hey, what about? And you might change your mindset and go, yeah, good point. Well, this is the same thing. People aren't necessarily sharing all of this, but if you have the gumption to call Shelby, contact Shelby. Shelby goes, excuse me, what about that? And to that point, we got this email from Chris. I've avoided solar for years. It always seemed like a scam. We're a homeowner. We're on PG&E. And based on our trust in RAD and having listened to Shelby over the years, we want more information. Do we just contact Shelby directly?
Yep. You can go to financewithshelby.com and just hit the solar tab. We'll break it down for you.
Steve says, I own my solar. It's about 20 years old. Could I qualify for the power purchase agreement?
Possibly.
Call Shelby.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll put that in the call Shelby pile. Christy. Okay, a lot of people. Christy's just the one I grabbed. This is PG&E, this power, but there's a lot of people. They're on SMUD. They're on Roseville Electric. We got Northern Nevada people right now. Is there anything available for people not on PG&E?
Yes, absolutely, but it just isn't the power purchase agreement, so we really need to vet it out. And what we do is we gather up the usage. We see what they're currently paying. We find out if they can use the federal tax credit. We just break the whole thing down, just like we would in a mortgage. We analyze every single piece. How long are you going to live in the home? Do you have any electric vehicles? Everything.
So we're back to
see if it works.
The power purchase agreement is a thing, but we are back to there's always a way, except for that one thing. But just because you're not on PG&E doesn't mean you shouldn't contact Shelby.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Lisa says, I want to thank Shelby. For the past 6 months, my husband and I have been trying to go through different companies around town for a HELOC. It was disappointment after disappointment. That's a home equity line of credit. So I emailed Shelby a month ago with my husband's information, and we are closing the HELOC deal this week. Thank you so much, Shelby. Rick wrote in and said, Shelby, I'm financing solar. I hear what you're saying about leasing. Is it the same as financing?
No. You have 3 different ways to get solar. You can buy the solar through a solar loan, right? You can lease the solar, and you can do the power purchase agreement. So just like loan products, same thing. There's different products.
Chris says, where is homeowners insurance going in California? Our insurance company is leaving California, and finding another insurance company has been an issue. A lot of this is fires, but there's other reasons. What can I do? Well, you're not a fan of homeowners insurance to begin with, are you? Well, you have to have insurance, but I guess he's not talking about mortgage insurance. He's talking about homeowners insurance.
Yeah, he's
Sorry.
talking about homeowners
My
insurance.
bad, yeah.
It's tough. This is something that, just like the power companies, the reason why the power companies are doing what they're doing is because they have to go, and the hikes are so large because they have to go and put all of the utilities underground. They got to trim all the trees. Like, they're getting cracked. Well, the same thing with the homeowners insurance in California. Whether you're in Southern California or Northern California dealing with fires, their losses are bigger than their premium. So, like, why would I do business here? I'm out. So, yeah, it is an issue. I don't think that issue is going anywhere. Hopefully the government will step in and put some sort of a cap on, but they're choosing to leave California.
This will switch gears entirely just because what she's writing, this is right in your wheelhouse. Before I get to Christine's email, we should also mention you also have a variety of Airbnbs around the country, and a lot of people are targeted on your Lake Tahoe properties.
Yeah.
You keep mentioning you've got new ones and exciting ones. How can people find out more about that, first of all?
Well, just DM me on Instagram. You know, it's my name, Shelby Elias. I try to post those properties up a lot, but I just got done developing 2 properties on Ski Run Boulevard. You can walk to the casino. You can walk to the beach. You can walk to the ski resort.
Party town.
It's amazing. They're 2 5-bedroom, 3-bath cabins right next to each other, so big parties can go together. We also own Emerald Bay Village. It's a boutique hotel, great for family reunions. You can rent the whole place out. It's 8 cabins on a 1-acre lot. Super cute, totally remodeled, beautiful place. And we have places in downtown Sacramento, an awesome place in Austin, Texas on Lake Travis. Hey. And, it all feeds into everything, right? I get people that are calling me saying, hey, how do I buy an Airbnb? How do I buy an investment property? This is what I've learned over my career. I've been investing in real estate. I'm doing this myself. So that's the big angle. They're like, well, why you? It's because I'm actually doing it. I can't tell you how many real estate agents are helping people buy homes and they don't even own a home. How many loan guys, same thing. I mean, these solar kids, they don't own nothing. They own a dirt bike. And so
no offense, Kyle. Dirt bikes have their place.
Hey man, I'm a homeowner now.
You are,
and I own a vehicle.
Look at you.
I know, moving up a little bit.
So you want to rely on people that can be your mentor, right? And that's why people listen to you, Rob. Like you're the guy. You have all this experience. You're the trusted advisor, and it's the same with anything. If you want to get better at anything in life, whether it's being a better dad, being a better husband, you put yourself in the position where you can learn from those people, and that's it.
By the way, it's been 35 years since Dawn and I lived in Lake Tahoe. One of the amazing things about Lake Tahoe is it's like the land that time forgot. In many ways, it never changes, but then there are certain things that do. But Ski Run Boulevard, if you live there, you right away know that's where you want to be.
Yeah.
That is the primo location, and I am going to be hitting you up, by the way,
Hit
for that
me
location. But to that point, okay, so you have that already. Well, here's Christine's email, rad@radradio.com. Shelby, I've got a beautiful house that sits on 23 acres, walking, dirt bike riding trails. We're about to put it on the market. It's between Lake Tahoe and Sacramento at the base of the Sierras.
Ooh.
It's completely set up for an Airbnb, but we just cannot manage it as we've recently moved out of state. Would you, I know the answer to this. Would you recommend putting it on the market with all the furniture and sell as is, or should we clear it out? You're going to go with, let me guess, you would go with choice number C. Don't sell it. Wouldn't you go back to that?
I mean, you definitely want to break it down. There's people that can manage it. You know,
You can get people. You can get someone to manage it for you, can't you?
yeah, you totally can. So you want to vet it out to see, you know, what could this possibly be? It seems like there's more of an experience driven, you know, approach to having that much land and being in that
You
location.
heard Dawn's reaction just to the description.
It is gorgeous.
Base of the Sierras?
Yeah, and my other thing too is like when you keep it for, are you thinking Airbnb or whatever? Like, are you? You're out of state, yes, but are you ever coming back? Because what a great place to vacation yourself.
Yeah, yep.
Like it's your other home to vacation that you're making money off of.
And I don't think that it hurts it to keep it furnished as long as the furnishings are nice. You know.
So does making an Airbnb like decrease the value at all because more people are coming in and using it to a certain degree? I mean, you can always keep up on upkeep, but or does she hold on to it and make sure that the home value can continue to go up?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I get that a lot. And if you really think about it, my Airbnb properties are way cleaner than any rental property that I have. Here's the reason why. Because it gets deep cleaned every single stay. And the person staying actually pays for the cleaning. So it's even better. And if there's any leaks or anything wrong, I'm notified immediately. On any of my rental properties, this underneath the sink can be leaking for 2 years and they never say nothing. You know, and they're not cleaning the shower after every time. Literally, somebody takes a shower the next time, it's get clean.
Well, and like to the property that this woman just mentioned in the Sierras, like, is this your experience? Because like my family and I, when we go to Airbnbs, we're not ones to want to trash them anyway. But the pricier the place is, we are like 10 times more careful.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so like if they're worried about their furniture or anything else, like if it's a great place, it's expensive, you're kind of like, oh, I am going to treat this like I own it times a bazillion because it is nice. And because I feel like some people are worried their house gets destroyed, but I don't know. Is that the experience where most people are like, I'm going to be extra careful because I don't want to be, you know, destroying anything that then the person who's Airbnb-ing it would be responsible for?
Yeah, and it's just like anything else. If you get an Airbnb property, you have to learn how to vet the right people out, right? I'm making people show their IDs. I'm telling them that there's a deposit. Airbnb also has insurance for me as well if they do damage things. But I'm vetting these people out. So
Yeah,
it's not
don't
like
rent
I'm
it to
just
the
letting people
the
book.
clowns on Summer House on Bravo.
Right.
Right. It's a little bit of a vague reference, but you'll know. Hello there, Meg. Good morning.
Oh my God.
Good morning.
Hi.
Yeah, I would absolutely make that property a wedding venue. They'd make so much money. But
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
All right, Shelby, we're done. We have May. She's our new expert.
Oh, that is such a great idea.
What's up, May? Go ahead.
thanks. I actually was wondering, my friends are trying to lease to own out their home. They're moving away to help with some family. And they didn't want to sell because they thought it'd be too much of a pain in the butt for them. They didn't want to have to deal with closing costs. They're a little short on funds. They thought it'd be better to lease to own to a friend. And I want to help them not make a bad decision because leasing to friends could not be your friend by the end of it. So I was wondering, could they call you and ask you, even though they're based in Reno? Is this something that you could assist them with, or do you have any like tips or tricks on the best method to lease to own to somebody without having to get like a real estate agent involved, I guess?
Yeah. With the lease to own, here's the downside to it is somebody's getting locked in, the person who's leasing it, they're locking in at a price. And if the market goes up, let's say we see interest rates go down and the market goes up at that point. Now they just lost that future value because they're locked in on a price with the person that's leasing it to own it. So there better be a big enough down payment up front on that lease to protect you on the other side. Because if the market goes down, then they're just going to say, I'm out. So say they said, okay, let's do a lease to own. I'm going to put $5,000 down, right? And the property is a $500,000 house. And the market goes up 10%. That's a $50,000 difference. Now that $500,000 house is now worth $550,000. The person that's leasing to own it, they only put $5,000 in. Now let's say it happened the opposite way. What if the market goes down $50,000? They're like, I'm not buying this anymore. Keep my $5,000. See you later. So you have to collect a large enough down payment at the beginning to protect yourself. Otherwise, it's not going to work out.
And the short answer to the other question is anybody anywhere should call Shelby. I know it's repetitive and it's like, Rob, but dude's going to take your call, whether he's in Mexico or at home or whatever. Is there anything we forgot before we let you go?
I have one other story about that. I get calls all the time for everything, right? I had this guy give me a call last week. He said, "Hey, I got this crazy scenario. So check this out. My girlfriend has a house in San Francisco that she's been living in for the last 10 years. We don't know what to do because her ex-boyfriend died, and his mom died, and his brother died.
Oh.
There's no one left in their family, and
gosh.
she still lives in this home. She doesn't know what to do. She's been living here for the last 10 years."
Whoa.
I said, he goes, "Is there any way that I can get this property, transferred to her name? Like, how does this work? Or does she just live there rent-free forever and never tell anybody?" I said, "Well, is the house paid off?" He said, "Yes." I said, "Okay, does she make the property tax payments?" "Yes." "Okay, California state law will allow you to get the property transferred over to you."
You, the caller, not her?
No, her.
Her, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
to her. She has no idea what to do. She's just calling me with this situation.
Oh, wow.
At the end of the call, I'm telling her, "Yes, you're going to get this house." She's like, "Oh my gosh, how much do you think it's worth?" I look it up. It's $1.5 million. Paid off free and clear. She's going to get this house.
Dang.
Because the law states that if she made the property taxes for 5 years in a row,
So she really wasn't
she
rent-free.
lives there. Yeah, she wasn't rent-free.
Right.
No, she
Yep.
was paying. I mean, property taxes are not cheap.
Yep, paying property taxes. She could prove that she lives there.
Garner Roofing, your trusted roofing experts, note that now is the time to take action.